Welcome, I'm Phil Cowan, and with me is Donald Kendrick of the Sacramento Choral Society and Orchestra, and many of you will recognize that music. I have a confession to make, Don Kendrick. I wouldn't have.
But you'll soon come to love the music of Downton Abbey.
And that's where everybody will recognize it from, and I'm sorry, I'm one of those outliers that has never watched Downton Abbey.
And it doesn't matter because the concert's going to be completely informative, and even if you've never seen a Downton Abbey episode before, you'll come to understand the story and the whole phobia about the Brits.
It really is remarkable what a huge cultural touchstone it's become here. I know people who are devoted to this show.
Addicted is the word.
Yes.
Absolutely addicted, as I am too. And I am a Commonwealth citizen, but that's not really why. It's because it's a wonderful, wonderful...
We try to not let that get around.
So, it's interesting because as we look at what's happening on BBC, and coming to this country, we have this amazing series such as the Downton Abbey, plus now we have the new series called The Crown, which is fantastic, and we also have Victoria, another series coming out. So there's all this fascination about the history of British monarchy. So what my colleague has done in Minneapolis is to put together some amazing music that really reflects the kind of music that would have been heard during the Downton Abbey period, which is post-Edwardian England. So we're looking at the British monarchy, what was going on at this time in the world, and we're bringing together not only the history of the monarchy itself, but now some of the historical elements of the music that you would have heard at this time.
Now, again, I am not that familiar with the show. When you look at the soundtrack for that television program, what preponderance of it is choral and how much of it is strictly orchestral or instrumental?
Right. So the gentleman who wrote a lot of the soundtrack for the Downton Abbey is a Scottish composer, very well known and very successful a writer for film music in England, and he's done the soundtrack. He's an Emmy award-winning composer, so he's done a lot of television, film track, and he's put together.
So there is quite a bit of original soundtrack that's been composed for the show.
Oh yes,
okay,
it's all original actually.
Okay,
and but so what we've done is bringing forth music that's sort of exterior to that's not in the soundtrack of the show, but would have been heard during the lifetime of these people who lived in Downton Abbey. So we're bringing in music of the great English composers such as Ralph Vaughan Williams, Gustav Holst, Sir Hubert Parry, and we're bringing together music that would have been heard as part of their funeral music in the abbeys, or in their or wedding music, or for coronations, or for celebrations.
What we are presenting is in some part original soundtrack that people will recognize from the show, and the rest is period music,
right?
From that historical era.
Exactly.
Fabulous.
So, in fact, the wonderful thing about this program is it also involves the audience. So we have these wonderful opportunities for the audience to stand and to sing with us, because it's going to be music that they'll know, and we'll come to this in the program, but tunes that they'll recognize, that they would have sung probably in their youth, or from some of their Anglican or Episcopal hymnals. So we're trying to, because everybody's desperately waiting for the return of the Dowager Countess of Grantham, and now instead of waiting for the next, because they're already filming the new episodes of Downton Abbey, instead of waiting and being sort of angst by this, we're bringing it all together. Music from the soundtrack plus music that they would have heard. We even have actors and actresses. We have cut out life-size characters of Maggie Smith, and the audience can have their pictures taken with these. We even have the green screen, a film screen, where we'll have the pictures of the Downton Abbey on both sides of the theater, and we'll even have high tea for the audience. In fact, to really cap things off, everyone will get a Union Jack flag when they come into the theater.
Have you ever done an event quite like this?
Not like this. This is really reaching out into more popular culture. So we're embracing the audience. We're letting the audience participate in this. We're even having the orchestra, the chorus, and the audience come dressed up in post-Edwardian costume.
Now, will you be conducting in costume?
I will be. I'll be in tails and a white tie and a top hat. And we have also some of the actresses in town, Alison Gilbreth, and we also have our own Carrie Hennessy, who will be coming on stage dressed in a women's suffragist outfit, singing with waving the big Union Jack flag across the stage as she sings "Rule Britannia, Britannia," and the audience, of course, will be singing with us, waving their Union Jack flag also.
Well, I'll tell you what, before we go any farther and listen to another selection of music, we should let you know this concert is coming up on the 18th of March, correct?
Correct. March 18th at 8 o'clock in the Community Center Theater. And you can get tickets by calling the CCT box office at 916-808-5181 or go online at sacramentochoral.com. So, talking about bringing together the history of the British monarchy through the Downton Abbey eyes, now we're combining music that would have been heard during the lifetime of these people who lived in the Abbey. And one of the most important pieces was a work that was written and performed at literally every coronation in the Abbey, in Westminster Abbey, starting in 1902 with the coronation of Edward VII. And it was written by Sir Hubert Parry, and it's called "I Was Glad When They Said Unto Me, We Will Go Into the House of the Lord." Great music for chorus and orchestra, gems from the era of Ralph Vaughan Williams, Stanford, Sir Hubert Parry, Elgar, and Gustav Holst. What a great way for us to bring the music that was rich for this time in England, and also to celebrate the history of the monarchy and give the audience an opportunity to sing along with us too. So we're all going to be in costume. We hope that the audience will find some Edwardian apparel, dress up, and really celebrate this event.
Now, aside from the annual Wells Fargo Home for the Holidays Christmas concert, the holiday concert that you do, have you engaged in many sing-alongs over the years?
You know, not really. Not to my remember. I don't remember us doing anything quite like this. This is unique for us.
This is as interactive as anything I've heard you doing.
This is really outside the box for us, and this is great.
It's a good thing
because we are doing something that really has not been done out on the West Coast.
And I would further add, Don, given what you do, how many opportunities do you have, quite honestly, to find something this culturally relevant? Right. That is pertinent to the music that you love and perform.
Exactly, because when it comes to real pomp and splendor, I think the British people have an edge over the rest of us. They really know how to put events together in the Abbey, in these great cathedrals. And when it comes to celebration, coronations or weddings of the royal family, I mean, and this is the 20th anniversary. Can you believe it? 20th anniversary of Diana's passing.
Is it really?
Unbelievable, So when it takes, I really just think it takes the Brits to make all this glamour and spectacle work.
The more salient question, Don, maybe, how long since Fergie and Andrew have parted ways?
Oh boy, that's hard for me off the top of my head. But
You're from Canada. You're supposed to know these things.
It should be a dictionary. I do. What I do remember when I've told my chorus this in rehearsal. When I was a young boy, I remember my dad taking us up to the end of the road, which is right down from 16th Avenue Northwest, which is the old Trans-Canada Highway, and Elizabeth II had come to Canada and she was 18, right, when she was crowned, and she was with Philip, Duke of Edinburgh, and they came to Canada to greet all of their, the Commonwealth family, and my dad held me up on his shoulders, and we had our little paper Union Jack flag, and the gold coach, the spectacle, phenomenal coach, went slowly down the street, and we could just reach it, and we saw her through the glass window with her little hand waving back and forth. I always thought there was a motorized arm.
How old were you when this happened?
I was probably 4 or 5.
Is that fascination with the royals still present throughout the Commonwealth and Canada and in Australia and elsewhere?
I think it is. I think there's a respect. There is a great affection for. Really, she's the head of the Commonwealth for us. But yes, I think there's still very much. Even though we know everyone has their own independency, we respect it.
And is it fair to say,
love the royals.
Having come from the Commonwealth, is it fair to say that the royal family is the head of the nation culturally rather than politically?
Oh, I think so, totally. I mean, I think it's really a representative, of the governing arm. But, all that ceremony, all that glamour, the gowns, the jewels, the crowns, the mannerisms were, of Edwardian England. It was such a different world then, wasn't it? It was a more refined world. Now we have all this other stuff going on around the globe, and we've lost that sort of magic of Camelot in a way.
Well, and that one thing is, people will grumble about British society for a great many reasons, but one thing that we can always point to is the level of
civility.
Yes, civility and public kindness.
Absolutely.
That used to be more present here.
Right.
And I think we've given way to lesser impulses, I'm sorry to say.
Absolutely. And I think that's why tickets are moving so well, and people are enthused about this, because they get to dress up, they get to participate, they get to revere the history of Britain and of the monarchy. They also get to revere and come to know and understand some of the music that they may not have known that was also prevalent during this time. So audience members, there will be photo opportunities for them with some of the life-size cutouts of some of the characters from Downton Abbey. And KVIE Television is also collaborating with us in this project. We also have a collaboration with Capital Public Radio, because their new classical host in the morning show is Kevin Doherty, who's a beautiful singer, baritone, and so Kevin will be doing some solo work on the program with us also.
Oh, very good.
So we'll have a sort of a wide range. But again, coming back to the fact that this program on March the 18th at 8 o'clock in the Community Center Theater will have audience participation. One of the tunes that most audience members will probably know is a tune called Jerusalem, and it's written in 1916, known as "And Did Those Feet in Ancient Time," and it was inspired by an apocryphal story that Jesus had come to England and actually visited England, so the piece, which is played at many state events in England, gives the audience a chance now to stand and to sing "And Did Those Feet in Ancient Times," and it sounds like this.
once again, ladies and gentlemen, the music of Downton Abbey. That is our spring concert this year for the Sacramento Choral Society and Orchestra, coming up on the 18th of March, Saturday at 8 p.m. the Community Center Theater. For tickets, dial 808-5181 or go to tickets.com, or you can always find out more at sacramentochoral.com. You always have lined up a fabulous array of guest performers and soloists. Who's coming up for this Downton Abbey show?
We have Kevin Doherty, who is, as I said, our new classical voice a programmer at Cap Public Radio here, and he's a beautiful baritone. He'll be doing a number of pieces with the chorus and the orchestra, and also, which will include actually a piece that's not been heard. It's a premiere of a piece, even though it's written, back in the late 1900s. It's never actually been performed, so it'd be an opportunity to have a little premiere on the program. And then, of course, our own Carrie Hennessy, who's appeared with us before on stage, and she's just a wonderful artist also to work with, and she'll be coming on at the end to sing this a rousing arrangement with the audience standing singing Rule Britannia. And what better way to end the program with flag waving, and she'll have her women's suffragette outfit on with big banners that women should have the right to vote, because this was a very an integral part of what was taking place historically in the country at that time. So and as I mentioned earlier, this is hard to believe, the 20th anniversary coming up now of Diana's death. And she actually had a very favorite tune that was written by Gustav Holst, and it's called I Vow to Thee My Country. Now, the tune comes from Gustav Holst's popular orchestral suite called The Planets. And it's specifically the movement called Jupiter, or the bringer of jollity. And so Diana loved this tune so much, she asked that it be sung at her wedding, saying, "It's always been a favorite of mine since school days." And to complete the great cycle, it was also sadly sung at her funeral in 1997. I vow to thee, my country, all earthly things above, entire and whole and perfect the service of my love, the love that asks no question, the love that stands the test, that lays upon the altar the dearest and the best. How British is that? How stirring, how enchanting, calling forth the spirit of mankind, bringing us to the altar of purity and the great symbolism of the British monarchy.
Don, it's giving me a yen for potted meat.
Yes. In fact, speaking of treats, we will have tea, high tea indeed. High tea at the end for the audience in our special reception.
Now, my wife and my daughter have done high tea at the Fairmont up in Victoria.
Victoria. The Empress Hotel.
Yes. What is the difference between just an afternoon tea and high tea?
Well, high teas can be a number of different things in different countries, but it really is just cucumber sandwiches and watercress sandwiches and treats, sweets,
and tea, I assume.
And tea, yes, absolutely, and tea. But so we're going to work with our catering people at the Community Center Theater to have a very nice opportunity to have some tea and some treats at the end of the concert with everybody.
I think that'd be a lot of fun. This is just so far outside your usual comfort zone. You have a cast of characters that will be on stage, including a couple of actors that will be actually narrating.
Yes.
And sort of tying this narrative together.
Absolutely. They'll be using a script that really helps to unveil some of the history of the music that we're singing and performing, as well as tie in some of the historical things that were happening with the characters who lived in Downton Abbey. The death of the Crowley boy, some of the wedding of Mary. So basically, they'll be putting the history of the Downton Abbey crowd together with the history of the music that would have been heard, and it's a really wonderful partnership.
And among the characters that will be joining this cast on stage is the golden Labrador Retriever.
Yes, we're so happy. We found the dog who is identical to the dog in the series.
It's a yellow lab.
It's a yellow lab, and it's exactly the same markings. He looks exactly like... If you see the series, you see every time it opens, there's this picture of Lord Grantham walking on the green toward the castle, the Abbey, and he has this beautiful dog, this Labrador, with him. And so we've searched high and low, and we were able to find this dog.
It's a lovely dog.
It's a dog. He actually lives in Orangeville, so we didn't have to fly him over from England. But his real name is Nikira, and he was brought to us by Mrs. Prendergast, who has been really helpful to connect us with the dog, and we've done some wonderful photos of him. He'll be on stage, and he'll be in the lobby to greet the audience too, and for photo opportunities.
Does he have any musical training?
I think his main love for music is the music of Carl Orff, but I'm not sure entirely.
Not Edward Elgar?
No, not Edward Elgar. But speaking of Edward Elgar, we will sing a beautiful part sung by Elgar that was written in 1894, right during the time here we're talking about historically. And this is an arrangement of a work called The Snow, and it features the women's choruses, the women's voices of our chorus and the orchestra, in a beautiful text. "O snow which sinks so light, brown earth is hid from sight."
That is The Snow by Edward Elgar, just part of the Music of Downton Abbey concert that is coming up this spring, March 18th. It is at 8 p.m. at the Sacramento Community Center Theater, the Sacramento Choral Society and Orchestra doing the Music of Downton Abbey. This promises to be unlike anything, Don Kendrick, that you've ever done before.
Absolutely, and please, I hope everyone will wear some post-Edwardian apparel, have some fun, because there'll be lots of photo opportunities with the Abbey picture, with some of the cutout characters, and also there'll be some surprises for the audience too. So English tea, flag waving, and they get to sing. They get to participate with us too. More fun than human beings should be allowed to have.
For tickets, call 808-5181 or go to tickets.com or go to sacramentochoral.com. Well, shall we send them out on a classic?
Right at the end, everyone's standing on their feet like they do at the proms concert for the BBC every year in London. It's time for Rule Britannia, flag waving, and everyone singing at the top of their voice.